Ibn Taymiyyah, the prominent advocate of Islamic orthodoxy in the 14th century, and Ibn Arabi, the renowned Sufi mystic and philosopher of the 13th century, meet once again in this second installment of their timeless debate series. Our journey continues in the historic city of Cordoba, a beacon of intellectual and cultural exchange in the Islamic Golden Age. Building on their first encounter, Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Arabi now delve deeper into their contrasting views, clashing over three fundamental questions: the legitimacy of Sufi practices, the boundaries of innovation in religion, and the balance between simplicity and depth in Islamic worship. Drawing on Ibn Taymiyyah's Majmu' al-Fatawa and Ibn Arabi's Fusus al-Hikam and Futuhat al-Makkiyah, this second debate explores the intellectual rift between orthodoxy and mysticism with renewed vigor. Join Attic Books as Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Arabi continue their profound exchange, transcending centuries. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Ibn Arabi. It is truly a pleasure to meet you once more in this beautiful place.
Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Ibn Taymiyyah. Indeed, it brings me joy to continue our discussion. May God guide us towards what is best in this exchange.
Let me begin by addressing my concerns, Ibn Arabi. Your promotion of Sufi practices, ritual chanting, symbolic movements, and mystical philosophies seems to stray from the clarity and simplicity of Islam. Surah Al-Hashr, God says, "And whatever the messenger gives you, take it, and whatever he forbids you, refrain from it." The Prophet's example is a complete guide for all believers. Why then advocate practices not explicitly found in his Sunnah?
I respect your dedication to preserving the Sunnah, but let me remind you of another command in the Quran. In Surah Al-Ahzab, God says, "Remember God abundantly." Sufi practices like dhikr aim to fulfill this command. They are tools that help the believer immerse their heart in the remembrance of God. These practices do not add to the faith, they deepen it. Surely, this aligns with the essence of our religion.
Remembrance of God is indeed essential, but it must remain within the bounds set by the Prophet. In one of his hadiths, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Whoever introduces something new into this matter of ours that is not of it, it will be rejected." The companions of the Prophet were the most devout and closest to his teachings, yet they refrained from such innovations. Should we not follow their example and avoid what was not practiced by them?
Your point is valid, Ibn Taymiyyah, but the same Prophet also said, "Actions are judged by intentions." Sufi practices are undertaken with the purest intention to cultivate love and longing for God. God mentions in Surah Fussilat, "We will show them our signs in the horizons and within themselves." This verse invites us to reflect deeply, both inwardly and outwardly. Sufi methods provide structured ways to engage in this reflection, enriching the soul's journey toward God without altering the foundations of worship.
Reflection is encouraged, yes, but your methods risk turning worship into spectacle. Practices like rhythmic chanting and meditative movements can blur the lines between sincere devotion and performance. God warns in Surah Al-An'am, "And this is my path which is straight, so follow it, and do not follow other ways, for they will separate you from his way." By introducing practices beyond the straight path, you risk creating confusion and division among the believers. Why not adhere to the clarity that God has provided?
You see performance, Ibn Taymiyyah, but I see a profound yearning for God. Simplicity is important, but the human heart is vast and diverse. God says in Surah Al-Ankabut, "And those who strive for us we will surely guide them to our ways. Sufi practices are just one of many ways that believers can strive to awaken their hearts. They do not deviate from the straight path, but help illuminate it for those seeking a deeper connection to the divine.
The essence of Tawheed lies in worshipping God as He commands, not as we desire. The companions adhered strictly to the Sunnah, understanding that any deviation risks diluting the purity of Islam. Their example is universal and sufficient for all believers. Why complicate worship when its simplicity is what makes it accessible to everyone?
Unity is important, but unity does not require uniformity. The companions themselves expressed their devotion in diverse ways. Some excelled in fasting, others in prayer, and still others in charity. In Surah Al-Baqarah, God says, "For every person is a direction to which they turn, so race to good deeds." Sufi practices reflect this diversity, offering pathways for those yearning for God in ways that resonate deeply with their hearts. Should we not embrace this richness rather than limit it?
Diversity and striving, yes, but within the framework set by God and His Messenger. Islam's simplicity ensures that all believers, regardless of their capabilities, can approach God without confusion. When practices become elaborate or mystical, they risk alienating the common believer and fragmenting the unity of the ummah.
Islam is indeed for everyone, but not all hearts are the same. Some are content to walk, others yearn to fly. Sufi practices nurture those who long to ascend beyond the ordinary, to taste the sweetness of nearness to God. These practices do not create division, but provide tools for those seeking excellence in devotion.
Your focus on ascension is admirable, but it risks fostering exclusivity, where only a few are seen as worthy of God's nearness. Islam's strength lies in its universality and clarity, ensuring that all can walk the straight path without stumbling over unnecessary complexities. Should we not prioritize the collective over the exceptional?
My dear friend, the collective is important, but so is nurturing those who have the potential to inspire others. In Surah Al-Anfal, God says, "And prepare against them whatever you are able of power." Sufi practices are part of this preparation, tools to refine the soul, awaken the heart, and cultivate a deeper awareness of God's presence. Far from creating division, they inspire the ummah to greater heights of faith and devotion.
Inspiration, perhaps, but at what cost? The Prophet's example remains the safest and clearest path for all believers. Adding to this risks confusing the fundamentals with personal preferences. Islam's beauty lies in its accessibility, simplicity, and unity. Why complicate what God has already perfected?
Complication is not the aim, Ibn Taymiyya. Sufi practices enhance the fundamentals by infusing them with heartfelt devotion. God's call to remember Him abundantly and reflect on His signs encourages diverse expressions of faith. These practices are not deviations, but extensions that awaken love for God and strengthen adherence to the Sharia.
Awakening love, yes, but within the boundaries of what God has prescribed. The Prophet's guidance was universal and timeless, free from excess or spectacle. Unity and simplicity are what protect the ummah. Should we not preserve this clarity for the benefit of all?
And there, Ibn Taymiyya, lies the heart of our difference. You aim to ensure that every student passes the course, that no one is left behind. It is a noble mission, safeguarding the many, but I focus on those who yearn for more. Those who strive not just to pass, but to excel, to taste the sweetness of nearness to God. Both paths are needed, but the choice belongs to the seeker. Will they settle for safety or dare to chase the heights?